Rolly, Luke and Tilda, great to see you.
Nice
Congratulations
to see you,
on your film.
Thank you.
Can I ask, Tilda, when did he first mention Suspiria to you?
Possibly within the first week of us knowing each other, which is coming up to 25 years ago. We met and became instant friends and then started talking to each other, and we've kind of never stopped. But probably in that first week when we were talking about what really inspired us, Suspiria came up. I've always known it. It's been part of the package.
Why, Luca? Why has it always been part of the package?
I think it's life. I was a kid. I crossed a city in the summer that was all shut down. There was this theater and there was this poster. Probably in terms of my personality, I'm drawn to anything that has some sort of design quality. I don't know. I saw this poster and it mesmerized me. And then I saw the movie a few years later and it shocked me. And it gave me the idea that everything was possible. And I already wanted to be a filmmaker, not knowing what that it meant. So it's life again. It happened that this film by Dario Argento became a primal sin for me and never let me go.
So what was it like, day one then, finally making this film?
Well, day one was then, I suppose.
I guess it was, wasn't it?
And for me, day one was 25 years ago, and the day, and then which day one do you mean? Shooting?
I guess I meant day one first, on set at I'm going to ask you about your wonderful abandoned hotel.
Yeah.
But what was that like, finally to be shooting?
I mean, it was fun. I tell you a little anecdote to make it light. We were in this abandoned hotel, and there was all sorts of noises coming from every corner because it was huge. And so maybe the filming crew was there, the second unit crew was downstairs, and someone else was putting together all the hair for the Sabbath scene. And there was constant little interruption and noises, and Mia in particular was very nervous because she wanted complete silence and absolute. And we are Italians, so. And then the noise and the noise and the noise, and she keeps being stopped. And then she said, oh. And then we say, okay, let's do it now. And we start filming, and it's going on and on, beautiful. The scene is almost done, and then a phone rings. And I say, oh my God, that's terrible. And I said, look at this, the Italians. It was Mia's phone.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
It's, it just unrolls. It's like a sort of weird circus.
Yeah.
It's a circus.
Why did you pick this particular location? I'm fascinated by that. Because tell me, is it an abandoned hotel in Italy?
In Varese, outside Varese. And the strange thing for all of us when we were shooting is that the hotel itself, in its state at the moment, which is derelict and has these terrible telecom towers on the roof, which gave us all these terrible headaches. And that's why we've all got these bags under our eyes during the filming, because we were...
Which was very good for the movie.
Perfect for the movie. It was an intense place, but of course you don't see any of that in the film because we're in Berlin and we're in a dance studio. So we would go up the mountain every morning to this very emblematic horror location, but none of the exterior horror location was used for the film.
But it did feed into it.
It did.
The atmosphere of the Witch's Coven is in that space somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I found in that place the lusciousness of a great stage, because it's wide and high and beautifully intertwined alleys and stuff that could make the breadth of the vista of the film as wide as possible, not narrow.
But it was when you go into an old abandoned, like a ruined church or something, and there's always a bit of paraphernalia in the corners where the kids have been playing.
Yeah.
It felt like that. It felt we were, messing around in the corner of a ruin that nobody would discover us there. We felt like our work was secret, and that was a nice feeling.
And you did a wonderful job of creating that atmosphere of Berlin in that very specific year, isn't it, 1977?
Yeah.
Why that year, Luca? Why was that important for you?
I think it's a little bit dumb because the Dario Argento movie was 1977, and that year for me it's very specific, and I remember in Italy, that we were at the peak of the terrorism, the Brigate Rosse, and at the same time we were at the peak of the feminist movement. And even if I was 6, I remember the dreads atmosphere of that period, and I kept being fascinated historically by the history of that moment. And yeah.
Tilda,
Yeah.
do you remember?
I
77?
remember it. I mean, funnily enough, I was 16 in 1977, and my father was a soldier and was stationed in Germany at the time. And I have a sense, very strong sense of that feeling of the underground. I think the idea of underground movements really began then for me. And so it's very much linked with that. I mean, I wasn't in Berlin, but I was in West Germany, but it felt, that what you talk about, the dread, and this, which is very exciting when you're 16.
Yeah.
It's kind of sexy.
Like kind of oppression almost in the air, maybe.
Something that's popping up and showing itself, but then disappearing again. That feeling of suppression, that feeling of repression, that all was very, very much in my consciousness. Maybe it's in a 16-year-old's consciousness anyway, but it was, it's all linked in and it was very alive.
Luca, you said before that you wanted your film to make people think about the power of women. Could you explain a little bit about that?
Well, specifically in the canon of the films about witches, often you land in a place in which there is a level of misogyny to the way in which the magic is related to women. And as we know, the concept of a witch has been forged by the dominant society during that epoch between the medieval ages and the Enlightenment.
And the fear of women, right?
Which was a church and male patriarchal society that imposed the idea that a group of women who were independent, who were attracted by being together, who were alone, became witches. And then after, during the Inquisition, they were forced to admit they were witches. So I was wondering, okay, let's say that they admit they are witches. In doing that, they do it as a sort of non-reconciled way and not victimized or self-victimized way. They reclaim that power, the power to be.
Absolutely. Can we talk about the wonderful performance by Lutz Ebersdorf?
Isn't it great?
He is great. Where did you find him, Luca?
Germany.
In Germany? But I've not seen any other credits for him.
He's a psychoanalyst. He's never performed in a film before.
You may remember in I Am Love, we have many people from the real, let's say, society level milieu of the film that we hire to play.
Les vraies choses.
Oui, you need that in movies. I mean, I wish I could do films in the way in which Bresson was doing them, but I have too great a fascination for the people I work with. But the concept of model is something that I like very much.
And Lutz Ebersdorf manages to do something that I always wanted to do, which was to be in one film and never another. It's so elegant.
Yes. And it's born as a new face for this film, and it's beautiful.
Because we watch a new face in a different way. When you go, oh, that's so-and-so, and how are they different in this, and how are they the same in that? And it's such a...
He's very good. I want to see him again.
Maybe. And Michael also, and
Lutz
Ebersdorf, Michael plays one of the two agents. None of them are actors. One is a great architectural photographer, one is a psychoanalyst. They were so easy to say, can you be full frontal naked? And they say, sure.
Yeah.
Even if he was 80.
Yeah.
Professional.
Yeah.
Well, amateur. Even better.
Even better.
Yeah.
Commitment.
Is Dario going to see the film?
Dario saw the movie a few months ago.
And?
I heard today that he said that the movie is, that his movie is ferocious and this is delicate. I kind of like that, and it's interesting because I said the same, but swapped. I said that he's very delicate and I'm ferocious, but it's a nice dual twisted reclaim of ferociousness and delicacy. I think both are the delicate and ferocious, probably. But I love Dario dearly.
You clearly do.
I remember I had a dinner with him in Rome a few years ago when we finally got the rights, and then we were going to do the film, and I said, Dario, bless me. And I said, you don't need blessing, you do your film. He's a wonderful person, Dario.
Absolutely. And finally, last question. Tom York and the music.
Magic.
Discuss.
Magic. Pure spells.
Yeah. Dario, Tom is incredibly generous and so really deeply committed. And we started working together before shooting. And the theme of the film that you see here in the two songs, that in the songs at the beginning and the end, was created before we shot, and that was really a lullaby that accompanied us all through the filming and the editing. He has been fantastic, and his team, his producer. We worked in a state of blissfulness.
Cool. Thank you so much, Carl.
Thank you very
Real
much.
pleasure.
Tim.
Thank you. See you again, guys.
See you again.
Bye, Mark.